financial markets in turmoil.
What are the root causes of the financial crisis?
The dollar losing value.
Heading for its biggest loss in nearly 3 decades.
Will Social Security even be there?
I don't know.
Buy or rent?
That's a very good question.
Interest rates.
I'm not so sure.
Where do you put your money?
I don't know.
Welcome to the show that answers your questions. This is Follow the Money Weekly with your host, economist and best-selling author. Here's Jerry Robinson.
All right, friends, welcome to another episode of Follow the Money Radio. Great to have you here today. Today is episode number 399. We're almost there to the big round number 400. As I said, I'm going to be giving away something on the 400th episode. Still kind of kicking that around. We got some great replies from some of you. If you have an idea for what to give away on the 400th episode, which is coming up next, just send us an email. You can go to followthemoney.com/contact and send us an idea for what you'd like to see us give away on the 400th episode. But today is episode 399, and today's title is 5 Financial Pitfalls to Avoid. We're going to be talking about 5 financial pitfalls to your financial success and how to avoid them. And that's going to be in segment 1. We're going to move right into that straight away, but stick around for segment 2 because I'll be discussing some of the supply chain disruptions, some of the rising inflation we've been seeing, along with an interesting way to get paid for relocating to another city. Found a really interesting website and just have some stuff to share about that. But let's just first dive into the topic at hand, and that's 5 potential pitfalls to your success and how to avoid them. You know, over the years, both in my own career and in coaching others, I have discovered several potential mental and emotional hazards that can prevent someone from achieving financial success. And I just want to go through these 5 pitfalls and see if you can identify with some of these. And maybe you can take this information and it will help you to overcome these pitfalls. So pitfall number 1 that I've discovered when coaching individuals especially is a wrong attitude. Now, I won't say that everybody I coach has a wrong attitude. That's in fact not the case. Most people who want coaching they have a good attitude, it would seem, but actually they often have a wrong attitude towards themselves. They might have a wrong attitude towards finances. You know, your attitude may seem like a small thing, but it's actually makes a much bigger difference than you may think. Some people actually fail to realize that their lack of success in finances is rooted not in a lack of ability, but in their poor mental outlook on life. This is because your mental attitude largely determines your actions. My point is that if you want things to change, you must change. And all real change begins right in your mind. And it's only after you change your thoughts that you can begin to change your attitude. So changing your attitude will provide you with the needed motivation to change your actions. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important because your current success is equal to the sum total of your daily actions. This is so important. I can't stress it enough. And actions all manifest themselves from our thoughts and attitudes, which first occur in our mind. So to improve our attitude, we need to surround ourselves with positive people, right? You may have some people who are putting you down. Maybe they're pulling you down. Maybe they're constantly telling you that you're not good or that you can't succeed or that you're not going to achieve what you're trying to achieve. You really want to improve your surroundings, and you want to give yourself occasional pep talks. That may sound, even psychobabble or new age, but in fact, it's really true. Just to give yourself a pep talk, really encourage yourself. If you have no one to encourage you, well, encourage yourself. No one else wants you to succeed more than you do. So you want to make a commitment to developing a positive attitude and watch your entire life improve. And again, that begins in the mind. So it really is something that's psychological. So that's pitfall number 1, is just a wrong attitude. And you can overcome that by surrounding yourself with positive people, improving your surroundings, right? You really want to improve the environment that you're in if you want to improve your future. The second pitfall that I certainly see whenever I'm coaching individuals on the topic of finances or investing or trading along the way is a lack of knowledge, but specifically a lack of curiosity, right? You can cure a lack of knowledge. That's through reading of books or learning more from people. But the lack of curiosity is something that's really damaging to a person. Over the last decade at least, I've coached hundreds of people around the world on the basics of money and how to create wealth. And the only thing that is more destructive to your future wealth than a bad attitude, I would say, is a lack of knowledge and that lack of curiosity. Unfortunately, our society is filled not only with poor information about money, but often very incorrect information. Over the years, many of us have developed wrong thoughts and perceptions about money and the wealth creation process. Success involves not just learning the right principles, but also, and this is important, unlearning the wrong principles. All of us have been exposed to poor financial principles that can lock us into a vicious cycle of never breaking free. The truth is that thinking like the majority will give you the same results as the majority. Often it is what we believe that isn't true that holds us back from success. What you know about money is largely due to your own family financial philosophies. As children, we were all exposed to our own family's financial philosophy, whether that philosophy was good or whether it was bad. Parents are always teaching their children, either through acts of commission or omission, right? We're always learning, whether we realize it or not, especially as children. The ancient Roman philosopher and statesman Seneca summed it up this way. He said, "The mind is slow to unlearn what it learnt early." Let me repeat that. The mind is slow to unlearn what it learned early. And if your family is like most families, the financial concepts that you learned growing up are more than likely designed to make you think more like a consumer than as a producer. Now, let's not rush to judgment about our parents. After all, they too learned what they know about money from their immediate families and from their surrounding culture. But even after we fly the coop and strike out on our own as adults, most of the financial concepts that we are exposed to are taught to us by the large banks and the financial institutions on Wall Street. Sadly, the big banks on Wall Street have no vested interest in seeing you achieve true financial freedom. Therefore, your success is largely dependent upon what you know and how well you execute on that knowledge. Many people simply lack the curiosity needed to succeed. Smart people are smart because they ask questions. If you lack a natural curiosity, achieving success will be more difficult. There's no hidden secret to the process of wealth creation. Instead, every person on the planet can create a financial legacy for themselves and their children. However, our capabilities are limited by our knowledge or lack thereof. Therefore, if we never have observed the wealth creation process in action, we cannot expect our early attempts at business to be wildly successful. The blueprint for creating wealth is a process that anyone can duplicate, but you cannot duplicate what you have never seen, right? And this is something that we constantly teach our members here at Follow the Money. We just, in fact, finished a brand new teaching called Our Wealth Creation Process. It is a simple blueprint to break free financially. So many people today are wanting to leave their jobs and start something new. They're wanting a career change. They want to create new streams of income. And all of this makes sense. But oftentimes, and it's sad, but oftentimes people will fail because they just don't know what to do, right? They have a lot of enthusiasm. They're eager to make a change, but then they just fall on their face. And believe me, I have been there. I had so many failures at the beginning of my own business career, and I share those with our members oftentimes. But the truth is that you can succeed, but you have to have the right information. Let's move on to pitfall number 3. So we just talked about pitfall number 2, which was a lack of knowledge and that curiosity in particular, which is so important. Now let's talk about pitfall number 3, a lack of commitment. Vince Lombardi, many people know him, famous coach, football coach. He said most people fail not because of a lack of desire, but because of a lack of commitment. You got to ask yourself, are you committed to achieving success? And before you can answer that question, you have to first determine 2 things. First, you have to specifically define what success means. What does it mean to you? It is only after you have defined what success means to you that you can then go commit yourself to the goals that are required to reach that success. The problem is that many, if not most people, have never really stopped to consider what true success means to them. It may not mean a lot of money. It may not mean having a large house and an expensive car, right? In fact, I hope that's not what it means. I hope what it means for you is satisfaction. I hope what it means for you is having your family and friends who love you and also having time freedom. I think that's really the most important thing, and time freedom is so valuable. It's something that so many people strive for, but they just don't know how to get. So secondly, the first one is, of course, defining what success means. Write it down. What does it mean to you? What are you striving for? And then secondly, you have to decide if you're ready to succeed. right? No one else can make this decision for you. Success requires a burning commitment to pursuing and achieving your goal. It is true that you can achieve anything if you fully commit your mind and yourself to it. For me, my own awakening occurred when I was about 25 years old. It was then that I asked myself what topic or what topics that I wanted to master in my lifetime. And it was then that I began to determine the dominant focus of my studies. You know, in order to succeed at something, you must move past simply being interested in a topic, and you must become committed to it. Many people spend their whole lives being interested in the right things that can lead to their success, but they just never commit themselves to those right things, so they can never really reach their goals. That's why I encourage every student that I talk to build a library of books around your focus and journal your discoveries. A commitment to success becomes habitual when you practice it over and over again each and every day. Of course, there's no shortcut to success. And it's for this reason that commitment is so important, because success hardly ever comes immediately. It's very, very rare. In fact, success can seem elusive when you begin your journey. When I first began investing and I first began building businesses and even trading stocks, I fell on my face repeatedly. My initial attempts at making money online or through the stock market or even in business were hardly any different. The first two companies that I started failed miserably. I mean, they were embarrassing. I have personally been through some very tough times in my own life too. Some of these tough times were brought on by myself and my own actions, while others were just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, when the road to success seems rocky, we have a bad experience or two, it's much easier to let those episodes make us bitter and to dwell on them instead of letting them make us better. It's easy to get yourself down by comparing your success or lack of it to that of others. But don't let temporary circumstances alter your mindset and cause you to become pessimistic. Don't become a scoffer. Pessimism leads to weakness because pessimists will often use their negative outlook as an excuse for not trying. There's an old joke that says pessimists are the best people to borrow money from because they never expect to be paid back. Well, have the courage to commit yourself to the journey ahead. Though you face many challenges, obstacles, delays on that journey, it's the commitment to your success that will lead you to overcome all those hurdles in the end. Remember also that procrastination is the enemy of opportunity. It's a fatal disease that will destroy your financial future. There will always be good reasons to delay your journey towards financial liberty. Only you can decide if those reasons are valid or if they're simply distractions, which they usually are. Now, once you've fully made your commitment, and I cannot overstress the importance of this enough, it's time to write down your commitment on paper. It is a fact that you are much more likely to achieve those goals and commitments that you have written down on paper. Don't overlook the power of writing your goals down on paper. And so that's pitfall number 3, right? A lack of commitment. Commit yourself to success. Let's talk about pitfall number 4 here. Pitfall number 4 is what I would say is a misplaced focus. Once you've committed to a course of action, it will require a constant and steady focus on your goals. Think of your focus like the rudder on a ship. Just as you can control the direction of a ship with its rudder, so too, if you want to control your behavior, you must control your focus. Your focus determines your behavior because your focus also determines your desires. What you see determines what you desire. And of course, whatever you focus on becomes bigger. So too, your focus determines your feelings. Therefore, your goals can play a large role in determining your energy level. It's the commitment to your goals that will unleash your energy. I have seen this played out numerous times in my coaching sessions with individuals over the years. As goals become more clearly defined, it becomes easier to focus upon achieving them with a laser-like intensity. So too, once your goals are clearly defined, you will often find that your energy level will rise to the occasion to help you meet those goals. Those who are new to the wealth creation process often limit their focus to chasing after money. But this is extremely destructive, not only to your psychological and spiritual health, but also to your family. And it usually ends in failure. We are not chasing money when we are in the process of wealth creation. What we're doing is we are creating time freedom, right? So it's not about stacking up lots and lots of money and hoarding. That's the last thing we want to do. What we want to do is we want to be able to change our life in such a way where we can enjoy more time with our family, more time with our friends, and more time for our calling, the reason why we're on this earth. So instead of chasing after money, set your focus on the setting and reaching of achievable goals. And with each passing day, success will come closer into your reach. Now let's conclude with pitfall number 5, a fear of failure. The fear of failure and the self-doubt that it breeds can be devastating to your financial future. Put simply, the fear of failure is a fear of being wrong. Or even worse, the fear of watching yourself fail and being wrong in front of others. The fear of failure causes such mental anguish that it can immobilize its victim and prevent them from taking a risk. Therefore, this fear has sent many burning ambitions and unrealized dreams to the graveyard. Often the fear of failure is rooted in ignorance, a fear of the unknown, which can quickly be treated by logically considering all the possible outcomes of taking action. In other cases, the fear of failure can have much deeper roots that are beyond the purposes of this podcast. It often accompanies those with perfectionist tendencies and those who commit random acts of self-sabotage. However, if you suffer from a fear of taking new risks, I would urge you to attempt to trace its origin back through your life. If you can successfully identify its source, you can deal with that issue in your own way. Do what it takes to air it out. Ask for forgiveness if necessary. Accept forgiveness if that's what's required. Whatever it takes. Then let it go. Life is far too short to spend holding on to past hurts and irrational fears. Instead of dwelling on what would happen if you were to fail, imagine instead that it were impossible for you to fail. What could you accomplish if it were impossible for you to fail? I want to ask you that again. What could you accomplish if it were impossible for you to fail? Let this be your mindset as you begin your journey towards financial liberty and multiple streams of income. So those are the 5 pitfalls that can really stand in your way of financial success. Let me throw in a bonus, number 6, and that is not having a plan for your finances. This is something that you can remedy immediately. And you can do this in several ways. The first way that I would recommend is to go through our 5 levels of financial freedom on our website. If you've never done that before, you can go to followthemoney.com/5 levels. I have spent so many years creating a path for you that you can take, that we have actually taken, my wife and I, and we show you the blueprint that we took to achieve true financial liberty. And you can find that blueprint on our website, followthemoney.com/5 levels. It's entirely free. We want to help you. It goes through everything from saving to prepping to literally your auto insurance, your home insurance, all the way down to real estate investing and stock investing. Everything you can think of is in those 5 levels. And where you may want to go deeper, that's what our membership is all about. If you want to go deeper into one of those levels, then you can become a member here at Follow the Money. So that's the first thing you can do. Go through our free 5 levels of financial freedom that we've shared with all the world right there on our website. The second thing you can do is you can get a financial advisor. Everybody needs a money guy. You need somebody who knows your situation. Somebody who can take a financial x-ray of where you are and then provide you some sort of feedback as you go forward. You need that. You need somebody in your corner. And unfortunately, many people try to go it alone. There's a Bible verse that says there is wisdom in the multitude of counselors, and far too many of us have wise financial counsel in our life. So you can certainly reach out to a financial advisor. You may know somebody at your church. You may know somebody that your friend uses or a family member uses. Great. Contact them. See if they can help you. And then if you don't have anyone that you can trust, we've actually put together our own Christian financial advisor network right here at Follow the Money. These are people who I have talked to, who I know very well, and who adhere to our 5 levels of financial freedom to help people achieve true financial liberty. And you can reach out to those financial advisors right through our website, followthemoney.com/advice. There you can fill out a brief form, and we will send that form right to a financial advisor within our network, and they will reach out to contact you very shortly. Or if you prefer, you can just reach out to us, followthemoney.com/contact. Send us an email, and we'll be happy to connect you with a financial advisor in your area. And if we don't have someone in your area, we'll put you in touch with someone who serves your area. All right, well, stick around for segment number 2 coming right up. We're going to discuss a little bit about what's going on with the supply chain, and we're also going to talk about rising inflation. We saw a big COLA increase coming for 2022 for Social Security. We'll talk about that, and we'll also talk about an interesting way to get paid for relocating to another city. Stick around for segment 2. We'll be right back.
And Follow the Money returns after this.
Are you prepared for the next stock market crash? It's not too late to protect yourself and your family with Jerry Robinson's best-selling book, Bankruptcy of Our Nation, now in a new audiobook format. Whether you want to listen in the car, at the gym, or on your iPad, we've got you covered. Get the entire 300-page book in audio format for only $24.95. That's over 12 hours of Jerry Robinson's economic wisdom, financial insights, and practical money-making strategies for only $24.95. Inside this new audiobook, you'll learn 21 profitable income streams you can create both now and in retirement, along with unique tips on how to inflation-proof your investment portfolio using our own PACE philosophy. And our 5 levels of financial freedom, which is Jerry Robinson's personal blueprint for building true wealth. If your goal is to become a better investor, increase your income, or just understand what is really happening in the global economy, you cannot afford to miss out on the vital information that is jam-packed into this 12-hour audio book. Get instant access to Bankruptcy of Our Nation in audio format right now by going online to www.ftmdaily.com/bankruptcy. That's ftmdaily.com/bankruptcy. Download your copy today and get on the fast track to true wealth and a lifetime of financial security.
Hi friends, it's Jerry Robinson here from Follow the Money Radio. Do you want to learn how to trade options? Are you intimidated by options trading but still have a desire to learn how it all works? If so, you will be pleased to know that our options trading course is now on sale in our online store for only $37, but for a very limited time. When you purchase this 5-hour online video course, you will learn how to leverage the power of options to generate a steady stream of income from the markets while minimizing risk. This course, which is deeply discounted for a limited time, provides you with 8 full-length video lessons with me that will walk you step by step on how to get started in the world of trading options. This video course begins with a comprehensive introduction to key options trading concepts, including calls and puts, premiums, volatility, along with an introduction to option Greeks and how to properly value an option before you make a trade. But this video course not only introduces you to the basic concepts of options trading, it also provides you with 3 proven option trading strategies, including how to rent out the stocks that you already own to others to generate a passive income by selling covered call options. We'll also teach you a smart way to buy call options for profits, and our students have told us that the secrets revealed in this video alone are worth the price of the entire options trading course. You'll also learn a unique options trading strategy where you can get paid while you wait to buy your favorite stock. This is an advanced trading strategy that is one of our favorites among our top trading students. So this options trading course contains a tremendous amount of knowledge jam-packed into 5 full hours of video presentations that you will want to watch over and over again as you begin or continue your trading journey. If your goal is to learn how to make money with options, this is a must-have education video series. And you can unlock this entire video course right now by simply going to followthemoney.com/shop. There you'll find our online store and simply look for the options trading course. This is a special introductory price and it is a limited time offer, so act now. Go to followthemoney.com/shop and take advantage of our deeply discounted options trading course today. All right, friends, welcome back to the program. Hope you're enjoying the show today. We've been talking about the 5 financial pitfalls to avoid, and that was in segment 1. We're moving into another segment now, and I want to talk about the supply chain disruptions. Boy, we have seen some big stuff there. Rising inflation, what it means for Social Security income. Those of you who receive Social Security income, you're getting ready to get a big boost in January. But before we get into that, I wanted to let you know that our members, our Gold and Platinum members, now have access to a brand new course that we just created called Moving Averages 101, how to use moving averages to buy and sell stocks, ETFs, and cryptocurrencies. So, moving average lines are some of the most important technical indicators that are available to traders. And they're also among the simplest indicators to use on a chart, how to learn successfully to use. They're very, very simple. And so in this new powerful course that I've provided for our members, what we basically do is introduce you to these powerful technical indicators and show you how to use them to generate short-term and long-term trading profits or even investing profits. And in this course, we talk about the different types of moving averages, 4 moving averages that every trader should know. And then I also share in this course the best moving average strategies for swing traders, also for long-term investors. And we also even talk about back testing moving average strategies. Anyway, so, this is an interesting topic. And regardless of whether you trade stocks or you want to trade ETFs or currencies or cryptocurrencies, this powerful course will equip you with the tools you need to succeed. And so, if you want to get access to that brand new course, it's not available in our store. It's only available for gold and platinum members. So just simply go to followthemoney.com/join and select the plan that's right for you. Become a member, part of our global investing community. And not only will you get access to that new course, you'll get access to all of our courses and so much more. So check it out, followthemoney.com/join. All right. So as I had stated at the outset, supply chain troubles are here, right? We had a big supply chain breakdown that occurred back around the time of the COVID pandemic when it first began, back at the beginning of 2020. And then things smoothed out a little bit, but now things are beginning to really get worse again. And this has been complicated by higher prices, consumer prices, and even producer prices due to rising inflation. That is the expansion of the monetary base by the Federal Reserve. So a perfect example of this supply chain issue and then also inflation was I just had an issue at one of my rent houses. There was a window that needed to be fixed, just a small crack in the window. And so I called the local glass company and let them know, the window company. I said, I need to have a new window. And I was shocked, sticker shock here by the price, right? The price had gone up probably around $100, $150 from what the last time I had needed a window. And the lead time to get the window installed was like around a month, right? Which before you could have something done fairly quickly. So the company told me that, look, the lead time on getting this glass created and getting it, in shape for your particular situation is going to take about 3 to 4 weeks. And the cost has gone up because all of the costs that are getting passed on to us. So that's just one example. Many of you probably have your own examples. I mean, I've heard horror stories about people trying to rent a car. Have you ever tried to rent a car lately? You go to the lot and you'll find out that you don't have much of a choice. If you go to buy a new or a used car, it can be just as difficult these days. That's largely due to this global shortage of semiconductors. These are the chips that are used not only in electronics, but also in automotive systems. There was a report from the Wall Street Journal not too long ago that showed that this chip shortage had led to around 7 million cars not being built. And so when you couple that with, the demand that is strong, and then you have this shortage of chips, well, it's just creating this big kink in the supply-demand equation. You also have this chip shortage affecting, and not just chips, but other things as well, affecting the delivery times for home appliances, like large home appliances. I've heard horror stories about this. Refrigerators, washers, dryers, and ovens. They can be 6 to 12 months out in delivery times for these things, thanks to the shortages in steel, in plastics, and, as I mentioned, computer chips. Right? Because many of these new appliances run on computer chips. And so it's affecting so many things. And then, of course, you have the labor situation where you have all of these container ships at sea not being able to be delivered due to a lack of labor, of workers. And then, of course, you have a shortage in transportation on land, like truckers right now. I mean, there's a big shortage there. So much so, by the way, I saw a report the other day that the Trucking Association here in the United States is considering lowering the age to 18 years old just so they can hire enough workers. Quite frankly, that alarms me a bit. Nothing against you guys who are 18 years old, but I mean, driving a big rig, that's quite a big responsibility. And that's just a little alarming, but that shows you where we are. That, companies in the trucking industry are literally looking to hire people that are 18. Normally, I think you have to be 21, maybe a little higher. That's wild. And then not only that, because the shortage of truckers and ships and trains, then the space on the trucks and the space on the ships and the space on the trains are scarce because there's fewer of them. So you have this shortage of skilled workers, and that also is affecting other things like, for example, plumbers and electricians in your own area. You may have noticed that if you've called a plumber or electrician lately, they are just very, very busy. And then, of course, the low-wage jobs are extremely hard to fill right now, which is partly due to COVID fears, also due to expensive or difficult to find childcare. There's other reasons as well, public transportation, but there's many other reasons we'll talk about in a minute. But the demands on many types of employees during the pandemic, like in the medical field and then in the logistics field, which of course would be the transportation and the supply chain, and then the hospitality industries. These have been hefty. I mean, the demands on these employees have been very hefty. And that's caused many of them to reevaluate their career choice, with many of them choosing their mental health over their current grueling jobs. And then you have all of this complicated by the fact that consumer demand right now is soaring. According to some reports I've seen, consumers are spending around 20% more than they were prior to the pandemic. So it's something we would call revenge spending. So many people were cooped up in their homes. They weren't spending the way they used to during the pandemic. And now that they're getting back out, they're spending more, right? And not only are they spending more, they're having to spend more because the price of things have gone up, so much. Same thing we see with revenge travel, right? Many people are traveling or wanting to travel, and it's causing, the prices, of course, to go up with that demand. So, you have empty shelves across the country. If you go to the grocery store, you're going to see that. You go to a regular store, you're going to see there's also, complaints about the Christmas season and the supply chain issues there. This has major retailers like Walmart, Home Depot, Costco, and Target to take matters into their own hands, and they're actually paying for their own chartered ships to get their goods to them because they don't want to miss out. And so instead of, just kind of leaving it to the current supply chain, they're actually getting much smarter. And I think in the end, this is going to lead to a stealing of the, global supply chain. Certainly going to be working out the kinks in it right now. But many companies are having to invest quite a bit into logistics, into, smartening up their supply chain. As I mentioned, I think in the end, it's going to be good overall. So you have consumer prices that are rising, of course, amid all of this, which is just so wild. Consumer prices rose around 0.4% in September last month, and that pushed the year-over-year gain in the consumer price index up to 5.4%. I mean, that's the largest annual gain since 2008. And along with this 5.4% consumer price index, year-over-year gain, that's also led to Social Security adjusting its cost of living, what they call COLA, cost of living adjustment, to raise the amount that recipients are going to receive on a monthly basis. And so they're raising that in 2022, according to the latest report from the Social Security Administration. For next year, for 2022, they're going to raise it by 5.9%, nearly 6%. And that annual increase will be the highest COLA adjustment, the highest increase that beneficiaries have seen in about 40 years, since 1982. And when you think about that, that's a dramatic increase for 2022. In 2021, the cost of living adjustment was only 1.3%. And right now, more than 64 million Social Security beneficiaries are expected to see increases in their monthly check starting in January. So that's coming up in just a couple of months. The estimated average monthly benefit for all retired workers was $1,565. That's going to rise to about $1,657 beginning in January. Also, the Social Security Administration announced that the maximum earnings that are subject to Social Security taxes will be $147,000 in 2022. That's up around 3% from 2021. The rate for Medicare Part B premiums in 2022, which they usually deduct from your Social Security check, that has not been announced. But back in August, the Medicare trustees forecasted that the 2022 monthly premium for Medicare Part B would increase by about $10. That would raise it to about $158.50 per month. That is what is used to pay for doctor visits and other types of outpatient care. When you take a look at that Medicare Part B expense on Social Security, that's more than 10% of the increase of the average monthly Social Security benefit. So when you look at Social Security right now, it's kind of a tough thing. You have roughly half of Americans age 65 or older that rely upon Social Security for 50% or more of their income. That's as of 2019. That was according to AARP and their analysis of Census Bureau data. And around a quarter of seniors age 65 or older, they depend upon Social Security for more than 90% of their income. right? This same analysis found. So there's a tremendous dependence upon Social Security in this country for senior citizens. And there was a report that was put out not too long ago. We sent this out in our daily email to all of our members that the Social Security Board of Trustees issued in their August report that the trust fund, the Social Security trust funds that pays benefits, is projected to be depleted by 2034. That number just keeps going down. When I wrote my book, Bankruptcy of Our Nation, I called it the 2040 crisis. And then it was the 2036 crisis. And then it was the 2035 crisis. And now it's the 2034 crisis. That the Social Security fund is going to be, depleted by 2034. And that's going to reduce benefits, right? So they're raising benefits now and people are very dependent upon it. But fast forward the tape, around 12, 15 years, and it's going to be a tough thing. So politicians, of course, are just avoiding the topic as usual. They're focused upon other things that are not going to solve this situation. And when you look back at all the rising costs over the last decade, for example, right now we're seeing this big spike in inflation. Of course, we're seeing this big spike in consumer prices, producer prices, and all of this. But it's been going on for some time. And medical care costs have been rising for a long time. Tuition costs have been rising for a long time. Grocery costs have been rising for a long time. So despite all of this, if you look at the average cost of living adjustment for Social Security recipients over the last 10 years, it was just around 1.6%. And in fact, 3 out of the last 12 years, there was no adjustment higher, even though we've certainly had rising costs. So just think about the rising costs of medical care and prescription drugs. Just take those two alone. Just imagine the crushing weight that is affecting senior citizens, right? Many senior citizens spend a large part of their monthly budget on prescription drugs and also on medical care, which they won't stop rising. They just keep going up, right? So senior citizens face this. And then add in the rising cost of gas and the rising cost of groceries, and you begin to realize the situation that we're in. It's a very difficult situation, especially for those living on a fixed income. The IMF's price index, where they actually measure prices, they measured that between February and August, the food and beverage price index rose by 11%. They also measured a 30% increase in the price of meat and a 29% increase in the rise of coffee between that same time frame, February to August. So all of this supply chain chaos, all of this rising inflation, all of these labor shortages, it's leading to Americans that are just quitting their jobs at the highest rates on record. The latest employment numbers for August revealed that a record 4.3 million workers in the U.S. quit their jobs in August. That's around 3% of the workforce, just up and left, just voluntarily quit. And we saw the biggest voluntary quitting in the food and retail industries. Now, this is the highest number that we have seen in the data series that goes back to December 2000. You can probably find something larger in the past, but certainly not for the last 20, 21 years. When you look at the actual breakdown, a total of 892,000 workers in the food service and leisure industries, kind of like the hospitality industries, left their jobs. So around 900,000 people left their jobs in the food and accommodation industry in the month of August. Then you had another 721,000 retail workers quit just voluntarily in the month of August. And then you had another 534,000 quit their jobs in the healthcare and social assistance industry. Now, when you look at the reasons why people are quitting, you're going to find many. Inconvenient hours, you're going to find poor compensation, which has been a plaguing workers for so many years. Health concerns, still many people worried about COVID. And then you also have childcare concerns, right? It's hard to find childcare. It's also hard to pay for it. It's very expensive, right? And then you just have general job fatigue. And others are just seeking better opportunities elsewhere. I mean, employees have more leverage today than they've had in a long time. There's around 5 million jobs that are currently unfilled. And so some people are just quitting because they realize that they can go out and find a better opportunity somewhere else. There was another report, I saw another poll that showed around 1 out of 2 workers were considering a career change, right? And so as many people are seeking to kind of rethinking their jobs, reevaluating their life, many of them are seeking also to relocate. As we've witnessed in this great migration from large cities to less urban areas in recent months. And so this is really interesting. I came across an interesting website called MakeMyMove.com. makemymove.com. And I read about this in a report not too long ago. And so I went to the website and I just checked it out. And when you go to the website, makemymove.com, it says get paid to do what you love in a place that you love. Communities across the U.S. are paying remote workers to relocate. Right? And so you can come in, and I'm on the website right now as I'm talking to you, so I'm just looking at it, and you can click on the link at the top that says offers. And when you do, you will see many different cities that are paying you to relocate to their city. So let me just give you a couple of examples here. First, there is the city of Tulsa. I used to live in Tulsa. It's a lovely city, and it has a lot of culture and a lot of history. And they also just recently put a park in the city called the Gathering Place. If you haven't heard of this, it's really neat. It's considered one of the best parks in the country now for kids. It's just really, it cost them a lot of money to build it, but they really needed to invest in the town. Down by the river where the Arkansas River flows right through the center of Tulsa, Oklahoma. But anyway, right now, Tulsa, Oklahoma, if you are willing to move there, then they're going to give you $10,000. So you have to be able to relocate to Tulsa within the next 6 to 12 months. You have to be at least 18 years old. You can either accept a position with one of their partner companies in Tulsa, or you can be a remote worker, right? So you could be a remote worker working somewhere, or you could be self-employed. Maybe you're starting a business. And as long as you're eligible to work in the U.S. and you meet all these other criteria, then you can apply and possibly be approved to move to Tulsa and get a $10,000 check. I mean, that would pretty much cover your rent, or maybe cover your rent for much of the first year while you're there. I'm looking at other towns here that are on this list. So I see towns like Morgantown, West Virginia. Morgantown, West Virginia, this is coal country out in West Virginia. They're offering a $12,000 cash incentive along with $8,000 more of various gifts and incentives, which I assume from reading this, it's probably going to be, kind of allowing you to avoid some of the fees on some of the different networking clubs and many other kinds of incentives that they're going to provide. So West Virginia is on this list. Also, Jasper, Indiana, paying $5,000 for you to move there. Bloomington, Indiana, $6,600 for you to move there. Beaumont, Texas will pay you $2,000, but West Virginia is kind of up here in the top list as far as money. Lewisburg, West Virginia will pay you $20,000 to move there. Let's see, Augusta, Maine, $15,000 worth of incentives for you to move there. Harmony, Minnesota, $12,000. Topeka, Kansas, $11,000. Northwest Arkansas, where I am at right now, they will pay you $10,000 plus maybe almost $11,000 in incentives just to move here. If you have a job here lined up, or if you are a remote worker, or if you have your own business, right? So you can go to this website and apply and then get money. Charleston, West Virginia, $5,000. Natchez, Mississippi, $8,500. Ontario, Oregon, $10,000. Let me see if there's a few others on here. There's many. Baltimore, Maryland, $5,000. Curtis, Nebraska, must be a small little town in Nebraska, $3,000. There's several Nebraska towns on here, and Kansas as well. I see a lot of Minnesota. Juneau, Alaska, $3,000. Savannah, Georgia, $2,000. Honolulu, Hawaii, how about that? $2,500. And what's interesting about the Honolulu deal is that you only have to be working there. You only have to relocate for at least 30 days. So you could take advantage of the $2,500 and only be there for 30 days. And when you're there, they apparently offer you relocation reimbursement, and I guess that's what this is. Deep travel discounts, a free co-working space to connect to the island community through volunteer programs, and the deal only requires a 30-day stay. Right? But as they say, who's going to leave Hawaii, right? I think that's the goal. I mean, the median price for a home down there is around $667,000. So it's on the, certainly on the high side. But, this is an interesting website, makemymove.com. And if you're thinking about moving anyway, or if you're thinking about relocating, which many people are, or especially if you have you're a remote worker for some company and you can live anywhere you want to, or if you have your own business and you can live anywhere you want to, this might be a place to, kind of start your search and see if there's a place that you already are looking at where you could actually get paid to move, right? So anyway, just figured I'd share it with you. It's an interesting website, and it might be worth your time. Maybe somebody listening to me might benefit from learning about that website, makemymove.com. So interesting stuff. So we've talked about a lot today. We'll be right back with our final moments of today's podcast. Hold tight.
Follow the Money will return.
Hey friends, this is Jerry Robinson from Follow the Money Weekly. Recently, we have been receiving many emails from our listeners commenting on the great help they're getting from our precious metals expert, Tom Cloud. Gold and silver are excellent hedges against the growing threat of coming U.S. inflation. Who's your gold guy? Make it Tom Cloud. With over 30 years experience with precious metals, Tom will answer all of your questions. Don't buy your gold and silver through some call center and pay inflated prices. Call my good friend Tom Cloud and speak directly with him and get all of your questions answered. For a limited time, Tom is offering free shipping and insurance on every gold and silver purchase made by our listeners. Call 800-247-2812. And when you do, tell him that Jerry Robinson from Follow the Money Weekly sent you, and he'll throw in that free shipping and insurance on your entire order. Call your gold guy, Tom Cloud, right now for the very best deals on gold and silver coins. 800-247-2812. That is 800-247-2812.
You follow drugs, you get drug addicts and drug dealers. But you start to follow the money, and you don't know where it's going to take you.
All right, friends, welcome back to the final moments of today's podcast episode. I sure hope you've enjoyed today's episode. We've covered a lot of information. We talked about the financial pitfalls that you want to avoid. We also talked about many other things as well, the supply chain chaos, the current inflation that's just ravaging right now, the big COLA adjustment for Social Security recipients, and then some interesting information for those thinking about relocating, as there's so many people right now relocating to find a new job. So with all that said, that brings us to the end of our episode today, and I want to thank you for being here. And as always, I like to leave you with a final word, and that is that there's a right way and a wrong way to get started in creating multiple streams of income and pursuing financial freedom. The wrong way would be to get all fired up and then to try to launch a new business and begin learning about the stock market and begin investing and trading, and then also buying your first piece of rental real estate all in the same few months, right? This is the financial equivalent of running before you ever learn how to walk. The most likely outcome is that you're going to stumble and fall flat on your face. The right way includes immersing yourself into learning the basics of one new income stream at a time, and then to follow up that training with strategic action steps. Just don't try to run before you can walk. And most importantly, learn to be patient with yourself as you take on a new income stream. Let patience have its work within you. Don't allow the frustrations that will inevitably rise to deter you from your action steps. Remember, you can achieve anything if you will prepare yourself with the proper knowledge, a good attitude, and an insatiable passion for success. Now go make it happen. And that's just something to think about. Remember, friends, when you want the truth about the global economy, just follow the money. Have a safe and prosperous week, and we'll see you right back here next time. Until then, God bless.
All of the information contained on the Follow the Money podcast is strictly for informational and educational purposes. It should not be construed as specific investment advice. The views and opinions of our guests and sponsors, including Tom Cloud, are their own and do not necessarily represent the views of FTMDaily.com or Robinson Media Group, LLC. Jerry Robinson does hold an insurance license and at times may offer consulting on life insurance and fixed retirement income products. Follow-up, individualized responses to email or phone requests that involve the rendering of personalized investment advice for compensation will not be made absent compliance with state investment advisor registration requirements or an applicable exemption or exclusion and applicable insurance regulations. Past performance is not indicative of future results. You should be aware of the real risk of loss in following any strategy or investment discussed on the podcast. Remember, never do your financial planning through podcast or radio. It's your money. Be wise. Do your due diligence and always consult a trusted financial professional before making any financial decisions.